Good Thursday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center, bringing you up to date on a severe thunderstorm warning, including the Bainbridge area. That goes till 7 o'clock here, parts of Decatur and Seminole counties, but also a flash flood warning in here as well, as we're getting some issues with some drainage here, potentially in towards some of these spots as we're looking here toward parts, it looks like, of Baker County here in Georgia, not Florida, as well as Decatur County here in southwestern Georgia, Early County, Miller County, Mitchell, and Seminole too. So got to be watching for this potential here for some nasty conditions to kind of cause some problems here. Though I have noticed in the last few scans we have seen some weakening, it seems, as I back it up and then go forward. So that's a good sign, of course, but it could mean we're getting some of those winds down to the surface right about now, some of those stronger winds possibly as we get maybe closer to Reynoldsville. So got to be mindful of that here until the severe thunderstorm warning is expired. You don't want to lay your guard down. Even if there's lightning around, if there's some heavy rain in the vicinity, you got to be careful because of that flash flood warning in play with that dark green polygon toward the north. That goes into effect here till about 7:45. We were breaking in here for the thunderstorm warning coupled with that flash flood warning because of the combination here. Some of these areas under both of them making for a pretty nasty evening here. And also just the fact Bainbridge, a pretty highly populated area in our viewing circle, under a warning here as well. So kind of just trying to play things here based on how the overall scenario really does involve here and how people are involved as we're looking toward some of our different communities. So I know we're talking about southwestern Georgia. It's really quiet as we're looking toward other parts of our region. So I'll go ahead and pop that overview up. If you're watching from this dark area, you're talking about and thinking about what's severe weather really, because I mean it's nice around here. We're expecting it to stay pretty nice here throughout the rest of the evening hours, but we're talking towards southwestern Georgia is where we have the nasty conditions in our far western zones here, not necessarily headed our way or anything. It's just we're watching this. We do cover these areas out here, and we want to keep everybody safe and informed. So as we look toward Donaldsonville, you see the warning in play with Bainbridge here, some of the worst of the acts, and just toward the west of Bainbridge again around Reynoldsville. We're watching this potential here as I zoom back out. You'll be able to see Reynoldsville there. You see Brinson. You can see some of our different information coming into our system. And in terms of rainfall over the last hour, you can see 2-3 inches in this darker purple, this I guess you could say maroonish color, indicative of some of the higher rainfall rates. So that's something to be mindful of here as well. Now, it looks like they just have dropped the severe thunderstorm warning at the Weather Service in Tallahassee because that potential has weakened on out. A pretty quick warning overall here, pretty short-fused warning. Of course, if you want to get those automatically, you can go to Cloud_WX on Twitter. They'll come out as they happen. But again, that severe thunderstorm warning has just gone away as we talked about. The axis was weakening some, so that's good news. But we'll stick with this for a few more minutes since we're on here just to talk about what's going on. We had a warning, I know, up toward Aspern earlier there toward Turner County, and I don't think we've had any damage. I'll double check to make sure as I go here toward the Storm Prediction Center side, just make sure we haven't had any damage reports there. I don't believe, again, that we've had any, but I just want to clarify that before I make sure that we run with that. Let's go ahead and look here. There's none, so that's good. Of course, maybe some delayed reports still possible, and we just actually did get a report in just now, popping on up, ironically, of some flash flooding, it looks like, toward Donaldsonville in Seminole County, and they're still getting rain. Maybe not quite as heavy as it was, but I reported some flash flooding there toward Donaldsonville here. This just came in at 6:30 from 6:10. We posted about that flash flood warning earlier, and now getting some flash flooding reports in from the public to the Weather Service office in Tallahassee. So that's just something to take note of there. We'll zoom back on out again as we look down toward Bainbridge. You see not that much lightning in play, more lightning as we get here over toward Grady County. You see some of that. That's something to watch. And in fact, let's go over to our Tallahassee radar site because we can evaluate some things a little bit better over here. We can look at some of the wind potential within this, and it doesn't look too impressive, but there is some wind potential in there. Nothing that's really pulsed up too much. It's pulsed up maybe a little bit, but not too much. And actually, we're now getting a report in from Seminole County as well of trees and power lines being knocked down around, it looks like, Donaldsonville. So let me go and back this up here to about 6:14 at least when I switch radars. 6:10 or so is when the report did apparently come on in there in terms of that damage to the 911 call center, give or take, and this has been relayed here in the last few minutes, last few seconds to the Weather Service office in Tallahassee. But some damage there in the Donaldsonville area, 1 mile north actually, so that's going to be right on the edge of that warning, right when it came out. We couldn't have got on that fast here, honestly, for that type of scenario, even if we were right here. I was watching, but sometimes in these situations, you just can't get on within 2 minutes. I mean, it's just the way it goes here this time of year. Other times of year we're on constantly in tropical setups like last week we're on, but this time of year it's nearly impossible unless you're already talking to get on. So that's why Cloud_WX is important on Twitter there, because you get those automated alerts as they come on out. Also, weather radio is important in this scenario. The National Weather Service Tallahassee Twitter account, they put those automatically out as well. So just different methods in play, of course, that stuff comes immediately. I mean, you still only have maybe a minute to take shelter. Just really want to keep an eye on the radar at cloudweather.com/radar, and even just look at the sky to see what's going on. And if you hear that thunder roar, you want to go indoors and just take some of those precautions. It's really that simple here this time of year. I mean, as we go ahead and move things forward, you see how the things have kind of fallen apart toward Seminole and Decatur, and you see those reports just popping on. If I move it back, they just popped up right when I was moving the map over, but there's that report there. As I back this up, you see right on the very northern edge here of the warning, trees and power lines down 1 mile north of Donaldsonville. They're from 610. So I'm going to check some of our PowerOutage.us information right now. Check on some of our details here. I'm checking on some information behind the scenes right now, in fact, to make sure things are all working well with some of our different technologies that we employ here. Doesn't look like too many power outages showing up in Georgia right now. That can change. 623 is the last update here. We do have 2,540 customers in the dark in the state of Georgia. And once I get this up, I'll go ahead and put it on the screen. There are a few here showing up, though. So it's just the nature of things sometimes. Not many compared to other states, though. I mean, wasn't in the top few there showing up, but there are a few that are showing. So let's pop this on the screen as we look at the percentages. That is a decent percentage add in Seminole County. Only 449 customers, but it's a rural area in general per se. But as we look over toward Decatur County, 249 customers in the dark. And Mitchell County, who was not under a severe thunderstorm warning here, under that flash flood warning, but never under a warning, over 1,000 customers in the dark. So again, this time of year, you don't even have to have a severe thunderstorm warning to know there could be some issues, could be some danger in your vicinity. You just kind of have to watch the weather here and just think about it on your own, really, as things go here in the environment. So that's a look at the power outage information. Again, we'll go back on over toward the radar. As we look back, you do see some of that wind potential showing up a little bit stronger there at 614, and you see that kind of fading some. Still maybe some stronger winds in here at times, and gusts in that maybe 40-mile-an-hour range, give or take. But you do see significant weather advisory up toward the east here for areas there south of Moultrie, really. Maybe some gustier winds there, not far from Coolidge. We'll watch some of that to see how it evolves. But just getting those reports in there toward Donaldsonville again from damage from about 25 minutes ago or so. But I mean, we're talking about the weather there. We've talked about it before here in the last few minutes, but we have the conditions towards dark all dry here, and though it's really stormy off toward the Florida Panhandle, even more stormy really than some of our southwestern Georgia zones. We've seen quite a few warnings toward Panama City, last flood warning toward Dothan as well. Those communities out of our viewing circle, but I know Clyde_WX on Twitter will tweet that information out as well, since they're part of the Tallahassee County warning area. But those are in the central time zone, those zones like Houston County, Alabama, Bay County, Florida, so I don't cover those as we're looking over toward the Panama City and Dothan television markets. But again, just watching things carefully here. We'll stay on for a few more minutes. Don't want to just come on and go right back off in this situation. We'll watch, make sure we don't get another warning, maybe toward Grady or toward Thomas counties. But again, this time of year, things pop up quick. They wind down quick, which is good in general. The winding down quick part, popping up quick part can catch people off guard and can be very dangerous. But generally, storms aren't going to stay too strong for too long. As we look at those echo tops, I'm sure they've fallen off some here over the last little bit. You see off toward the west, lower than what we're seeing toward Grady County, toward areas there as we get over toward Colquitt County. So again, just something to watch out for. See if anything kind of gets put down in terms of some of those wind gusts. And we do still have the flash flood warning in play here. Don't want to kind of forget about that as we're looking toward areas there around County Road 24. Pop-up storm total rainfall. You do see 3 inches plus around El Dorado there. You see maybe even 3.5 inches or so. So that's something to take note of there for sure as we're watching towards some of those communities. Just keeping an eye on the grand scheme of things here. I know I'm looking at the camera behind the scenes and it's so quiet, so clear looking that I don't think we even need to pop it up as we're looking towards dark. Things just look pretty nice overall here with the clear skies in play. I mean, the sun's kind of even reflecting because it's just so bright out there here this evening. But as things again, not impactful at all. It's a nice evening to go out and enjoy things here towards dark areas. So I just don't want to kind of get too hung up on what's happening up toward the west here. As things again popped up quickly, they're winding down in some of these spots pretty quickly as well. It seems as you're going over toward the map, and you see already down to 72 in Bainbridge, but 84 there in Quincy. I'll zoom in to see the Bainbridge reading. You also see 72 in Donaldsonville as well. So some of those numbers there. I'll back this up to see if we have any higher wind gusts toward Bainbridge or Donaldsonville. And we did have a gust to 24 knots there with low visibility around Donaldsonville. With Florida warning was issued 21 knots for Bainbridge. Those are both below tropical storm force, which is good, obviously. But just something to take note of. It looks like Bainbridge, Donaldsonville proper kind of missed out on the worst of the action. That were poured just a little north of Donaldsonville there with the power line and tree issues. But still having some of those heavier downpours, and that could still be problematic there toward Donaldsonville. As again, we did have that flash flood report in play there in toward that area. So we'll keep our eyes on that, but at least those airport sensors missing out on the worst there of the action. We'll zoom back out again as we look. You do see the flash flood warning in that dark green polygon. Don't see too much else going on here in the southeast at all. You have to zoom out pretty far to see warnings there. One in Indiana, one in Ohio. You see considerable severe thunderstorm warning there in parts of Colorado, New Mexico. Again, though, it's just a random type thing. You get this time of year. I said that was summertime pattern. Sometimes the storms just get severe enough to cause those issues. I know on Monday, a really nasty situation. We actually had a formal risk of severe weather in play. Today, there's no formal risk at all, just a general thunderstorm outlook. But on Monday, we had issues there toward Valdosta with some injuries, even it's a nasty setup there with widespread damage really there toward at least some of those spots. Not what you generally see in the afternoon thunderstorm action. We had some dry air there kind of mixing in that can cause issues sometimes. I know dry air is also a good thing, but sometimes where you don't have the storms being produced, but also sometimes you have to watch out here for that potential for some issues here as well, like what we saw there on your Monday. That really was mixing in there, and you kind of saw that as we look toward our energy values. You still see some of those, but I mean, overall, again, weather pattern looks pretty good toward north central Florida. We will pop up the Bradford County Sheriff's Office weather stem viewpoint, and again, as I was talking about, our camera's showing the same thing. Pretty nice out there overall. Great to just enjoy things. There's no severe weather towards dark. Toward Gainesville, toward 75 here in North Florida, I-10 in North Florida. We're all good. I mean, we'll watch out toward Tallahassee maybe, but again, North Central Florida, it's good. Nothing to worry about here. This is a southwest Florida event. And as we look on over towards some of our other camera views, you see Jacksonville there. Same story. Popping that on there on weather stem, giving you that vantage point here this evening. Again, things are all good out there. Nothing to worry about whatsoever. So, again, most of our area doing well. The warnings kind of ramping on down some. You see as high of rainfall rates here indoor the flash flood warning as we did earlier. Just south there of Donaldsonville, there around Iron City, we have a little bit heavier rain that could cause some issues as we look back here. Last 12 hours, you do see Donaldsonville did get pretty heavy rainfall, even if that wind damage was just north of town. And the winds weren't really gusting too much at Donaldsonville, but we did get that heavy rain there into toward Donaldsonville proper there. Over 2 inches in the last hour or so. Well, that's last 12 hours, but a lot of that falling in the last hour or so toward Donaldsonville with the flash flooding being reported. I just got to always be cognizant of that as we're looking at these total estimates here. You see maybe some small hail popping up as we're going over toward that product here. Not too high of values though, maybe just north of Cairo there, into toward Grady County. But you see Leon County doing good, looking good there in the Big Bend. We'll go ahead and kind of back this on up just a little bit more here. You see that thunderstorm warning has in play for some radar scans there for about 15-20 minutes or so. But then you can see how things are really actually stronger maybe at times even before that warning was in play here. It's just this time of year is really hard. This environment, it's hard to know exactly what's going to produce down toward the surface. Sometimes these storms actually have to kind of fall apart a little before they produce some of that damage to the surface, and then after that they really kind of falling off as you're seeing now toward this area. So again, this time of year it's all about when thunder roars, you go indoors. Don't even really need a meteorologist for that. You just kind of look at that here as we're keeping an eye on things, and then look at the radar here as well. So again, just looking here, zooming back out to see toward areas north of our viewing area, around areas east of Montezuma, for instance, 75 there, getting some pretty heavy rainfall, making it nasty driving there from Atlanta down to Valdosta on 75 maybe, but just a little intermittent area of moisture there that can cause some problems with the heavier downpour actions. So I think we pretty much covered it all. We'll be back if needed, but hopefully we won't need to come back on today. I know tomorrow's rain chances here are not too high overall. Again, we'll watch some more other areas here as we're looking, though, as we're looking off toward the west, for instance. I know toward Bainbridge, we have to just kind of keep our eyes on things here. I know, just monitor things toward Decatur County, toward Grady County, toward Seminole County. Rain chances tomorrow around 40% or so there, but as we're looking out towards Stark and in parts of north central Florida, our rain chances here are lower. We had about 30% of the forecast cycle here yesterday when we were on. We didn't have a formal update today, but I mean, rain chances are almost non-existent tomorrow here towards Stark, but they are going to go up some Saturday. Sunday, they really started to go up 50%. Monday, 70%, give or take. These are the official numbers I'm using from the Weather Service right now just to pick the point, but you get the idea here. Tuesday, 70% here with that. So just kind of giving you a general idea, general synopsis of that threat here as we're looking ahead with that increasing moisture, those increasing moisture levels around. Of course, we'll be here as necessary from the Weather Center, keeping an eye on things. But for now, meteorologist Casey Cloud signing off. Have a great night.